this poor guy who was running for office was like, well, I think that we should be transparent in our healthcare. And I said, that is a great talking point. Do you want to explain to me what that means to you? So the security threat is interesting. It's real, right? I mean, they do have access to all of our data, and what we don't realize is maybe we're short-sighted in it, is that our data, if they pick out 10, 15 questions, like, do you ever see those quizzes on Facebook or on all those different things that say, hey, do you do this? Have you seen this? Do you have that? You're like, you get enough sample questions, they're going to know exactly how you're going to vote, and they're going to mark it directly to you based on that. And so there's something to be said. We are, as a people, naive, right? We'll listen to what someone has to say, and if we like it and it fits in our line, we don't do much more checking, and then we just use that as rote. And I think that's where the fear is that a lot of people don't do enough research, and they just spew the wrong information. I mean, I'm not trying to be politically here, other than, like, we saw it happen in the pandemic. And if you take a look at, like, Joe Biden yesterday specifically said that I will sign that bill if they say that, if it gets through the Senate, I will sign that bill. The Democrats last time were not on board with this, and now they are. So what changed? I'm asking you, what changed? What is your thought?
I have no idea. I would need to do some research as to what this specific bill is different than the Trump one. Because it seems like the same thing.
Yeah. So that's my answer, is that, like, I don't know. I do keep going back to something I heard many years ago about my family, that when they lived in Russia, Carpathian Mountains outside of who knows, but a tiny little village, and family member went to visit them to find out where we were from. And as he's up there, there were all these wars going on in the Slovakian countries at the time. And when they asked about that, they're like, we have to give our goat to somebody. We don't care who it is. Just leave us alone. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to work here. I don't know what's going to happen. I'd love to be more involved in the political system, but there's only so much one vote can do. I will tell you this. I did have a really great time going to vote. I did my early voting recently, and the poor candidates that were standing there 50 or 100 or however far away from the polling center that they had to be, that made the mistake of being there telling me that they were running for some office, they got a full earful of what they should be paying attention to on medical benefits and pharmacy benefits and employee benefits and health insurance. I had this one poor...
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
He did. They were asking me to vote for them. And so I said, oh, well, I know I'm not going to be able to get in your office if you do get elected. So why don't I just go ahead and give you my testimony now?
Great.
So I got to get in their ear, and I was spewing and talking this information about healthcare and benefits and managed care and the difference between the two. And one of the ladies that happened to be sitting there was a physician of her own, and she was shaking her head every time I was saying my stuff. And the best was this poor guy who was running for office. I sure hope he doesn't get elected, but he probably will. But this poor guy who was running for office was like, well, I think that we should be transparent in our healthcare. And I said, that is a great talking point. Do you want to explain to me what that means to you? And he couldn't. I believe in transparent. Okay. So if you want to talk about transparency, how does that look to you? I gave him my card. Maybe he'll put me on his committee and we'll be able to figure it out. But I'm just like, oh, such a cute talking point. That's good. That's good. Hey, you. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Money in the Bank with Frank. If you like that, hit the subscribe button. We have plenty more content like that on the Merge TV, and we look forward to seeing you next time.